Imagine you've spent, I don't know, the last 15 or 20 years restoring a classic car.
Oh, that's a serious commitment.
Right. You've sourced every specific part, you've spent countless weekends in the garage covered in grease, and you've poured your absolute heart into making that engine purr perfectly. And now you're finally ready to pass it on.
But you wouldn't just, toss the keys to the very first person who walks up your driveway holding a checkbook.
Exactly, no way. Selling a business is exactly like that, but obviously it doesn't happen with a simple handshake in a driveway. It starts with a daunting, often opaque corporate process, specifically something industry insiders call the first call.
Right, the discovery call.
Yeah, and if you are a UK owner-manager tuning in today, this deep dive is a dedicated part of the Hazel Property Group series. It's custom designed to give you a real tactical advantage when you're considering selling your business privately and off-market.
And our mission today is to completely demystify that initial conversation. I mean, stepping into that call without understanding the underlying mechanics of the M&A world, well, it puts you at an immediate disadvantage.
It really does. So we're going to map out exactly what the buyer is evaluating in real time, what you actually need to prepare, and crucially, how to spot a buyer who is actually worth talking to.
Yeah, because knowing the psychology of this process, it just completely removes the fear of the unknown. You'll feel so much more in control.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's get right into the vibe of this initial contact. Our sources indicate that first-time sellers frequently over-prepare for this grueling forensic interrogation. But this first call, it's surprisingly informal, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It is remarkably brief. We are talking maybe 20 to 30 minutes maximum.
Wow, just 20 minutes?
Yeah, it's really short. The
Yeah.
buyer's goal is simply to understand the business at a high level. It is absolutely not meant to be an interrogation. If it feels like a high-pressure environment, well, something is wrong.
I like to think of it kind of like a first date or, a casual coffee meetup. It's just a quick vibe check. It's not a marriage proposal.
That's a perfect way to look at it.
Yeah.
They are just trying to establish basic rapport.
But wait, I have to ask. If I'm a buyer and I'm preparing to deploy hundreds of thousands or even millions of pounds to acquire a company, why wouldn't I want to interrogate the seller immediately? Like, let's get all the operational facts and spreadsheets on the table right away.
Well, because professional buyers, they know that jumping straight into intense due diligence, it just puts sellers on the defensive right away.
Ah, right. That makes sense.
Yeah, they are taught that this call is purely about discovery. They need to find out if there's a mutual foundation to build on. A serious acquirer is looking at dozens of potential acquisitions every single year.
Right. So they literally don't have the time to audit everyone on day one.
Exactly. At this very early stage, they are not trying to validate your entire business model. They are running a preliminary high-level filter to see if it's worth a second meeting.
So it's a screening mechanism, which means as a seller, if I show up with a dense 40-slide presentation deck, that's probably overkill.
Oh, massive overkill. Bringing a dense presentation to a discovery call is a strategic error. You just need a concise, jargon-free explanation of what your business actually does.
Right, keep it simple.
Exactly. If you spend 15 minutes of a 20-minute call explaining the highly technical nuances of your manufacturing process, you crowd out the actual strategic conversation.
Okay, so if they aren't going to grill you on the intricacies of your daily operations, what do they actually care about? The sources highlight that they focus almost entirely on your motivation.
Yes, the motivation is huge. They want to know the history of the company, sure, but then they will inevitably ask the single most important question.
Which is why you're thinking of selling right now.
Exactly. The why is the absolute linchpin of the transaction. You must have a clear, honest reason ready, whether it's retirement, wanting to focus on other projects, or personal circumstances.
Honesty is paramount, right, because they are looking for red flags.
Oh, they are hyper-vigilant for hesitation. In the buyer's mind, a vague answer means you might not be serious.
Or worse, that there's some hidden problem driving the sale, like you just lost your biggest client or something.
Precisely. If they ask why you're selling, and you say, I'm just testing the waters, their internal risk assessment goes on high alert.
But here's where it gets really interesting to me. Shouldn't the seller play a little hard to get? I mean, why show all your cards and admit that you're burnt out or desperate for a break? Doesn't that hurt your valuation?
Well, what's fascinating here is that buyers actually crave safety and certainty above almost everything else.
Safety over leverage.
Yeah. A credible buyer isn't looking to exploit a seller's burnout. They really aren't. A clear, logical reason for selling proves to the buyer that they aren't about to walk into a trap.
Ah, I see. So if I say I've run this for 20 years and I'm just tired, that makes sense to them. It's a normal human narrative.
Exactly. Honesty builds the necessary trust to move forward. If you pretend you don't really care if you sell, it forces the buyer to guess your true motives, and buyers hate guessing.
That is such a crucial mindset shift for the seller. Okay, so once the buyer understands the emotional motivation, the why, the conversation naturally pivots to the what, the numbers.
Right, the financial reality. They have to ascertain the scale of the operation.
And this is where people probably panic, thinking they need their accountant on the line, but the sources say you really just need rough numbers, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The buyer will just ask roughly what the numbers look like.
Right.
You should know your basic top-line revenue and your rough profit margins before the call.
Which is stuff you can easily pull from recent VAT or corporation tax returns. Nothing crazy.
Exactly. You do not need to share everything yet. Deep financial disclosures or specific customer data, that is totally premature for a 20-minute chat.
It's like a movie trailer. You want to give the buyer the genre and the main plot points, but you do not give away the twist ending or the entire script.
That's a great analogy. You're giving them just enough to see if it fits their investment criteria.
So if I tell them my revenue is $4 million and my margin is 15%, what are they doing with that?
They are instantly doing mental math. They're calculating a rough EBITDA to see if your business fits the specific size they are mandated to buy.
All right, so if they only buy 10 million pound companies, they can politely bow out without wasting everyone's time.
Exactly. And honestly, buyers actually expect sellers to be slightly protective of their data early on.
Wait, really? It doesn't annoy them if you hold back.
Not at all. Setting boundaries makes you look more professional. If you say, hey, I can give you the rough top-line figures now, and the rest can wait for the next stage under an NDA, that gives you incredible credibility.
It shows you know what you're doing. You're not just eager to hand over your client list to a complete stranger.
Precisely. Premature transparency is viewed as a massive liability. It shows a lack of commercial maturity.
Okay, so we've covered what they want from you. But a true conversation goes both ways. Now that they've asked their questions, it is your turn to flip the script and evaluate who is sitting on the other side of the phone.
This is so important. The call is about fit just as much as it is about numbers. You are passing on your baby, so to speak.
Yeah, you need to know it's going to be in safe hands.
So,
The seller should actively ask questions back.
a serious, experienced buyer will absolutely welcome your questions. They expect to be vetted.
But the sources mention a very specific red flag to watch out for during this phase. If the call feels like a heavy sales pitch from the buyer, if they start bragging about how much more successful they're going to make the business, that is a major warning sign.
It is a massive red flag. Professional buyers are explicitly taught not to pitch or plant seeds of their own superiority.
So what does this all mean for you, the seller? What if the buyer sounds incredibly slick and has this perfect elevator pitch about doubling your revenue in a year? Why is that bad?
Well, a polished, overly aggressive sales pitch usually masks a complete lack of real substance or, more commonly, a lack of actual funding.
Oh, wow. So they are trying to dazzle you because they don't actually have the cash.
Very often, yes. A credible buyer listens way more than they speak. They want to provide comfort and continuity.
They don't want to give off a hostile corporate takeover vibe telling you that everything you built is inefficient and they are here to save the day.
Exactly. If they come in acting like a savior, arriving to rescue your business from your own management, you have every right to end the conversation.
Because you want someone who respects the operational legacy you've built.
Yeah, the discovery call is your best tool for disqualifying bad actors before they drag you into an expensive due diligence process.
This is all incredibly practical. Let's summarize the core takeaways here so you can walk away feeling totally confident. The first call, it's really just a conversation.
It's a mutual filter, nothing more.
Right. And as a seller, you only need to prepare three things. First, a simple explanation of what your business actually does. Second, your rough top-line numbers. And third, a clear, honest reason for why you are selling.
Everything else can wait. All the spreadsheets, the contracts, the complex deal structures, leave them in the drawer for now.
Absolutely. But before we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with a final provocative thought to mull over before your next meeting.
Yeah, this is something that gets lost in all the financial chatter.
Don't just think about what you want for the business, think about what you truly need. Beyond the final valuation number, what are your actual non-negotiables for your peace of mind?
Like, what do you need for your staff? What do you need for your legacy in the community? Do you need a clean break in 3 months? Or are you happy to stay on for a 2-year transition?
Getting crystal clear on what you absolutely need, not just what would be nice to have, will make that first 30-minute phone call the easiest one you've ever had.
It really grounds your whole strategy. You'll know instantly if the buyer aligns with those needs.
Take that clarity into your next meeting. You've got this. Thanks for joining us for this Hazel Property Group deep dive. Know your value, set your boundaries, and we'll catch you next time.